going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Nick Bartell, editor-in-chief for Techno Warriors TV, and welcome to another audio interview. Well, we just barely interviewed the third MUFON member on our show, Jesse Peak. He's an investigator for MUFON. Because guess what? He's got a bunch of UFO stuff he has seen. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's the UFO sightings of Jesse Peak audio interview. And that's why you're seeing just the thumbnail and not us on camera, because hence the term audio interview. Just due to some technical issues on his end and that kind of thing, it's a little tough for the video feed, but you know how technology is. Technology can be a little devil sometime. It never works when you really want it to. But that's how technology is. The computer gods don't like us sometimes, and so they just mess with us. But that's how it is. That's the way the cookie crumbles. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a real treat for you. Jesse Peak is a he's a huge investigator for MUFON. He's been doing it since 2019. He has seen some pretty cool stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you MUFON investigator Jesse Peak. So Jesse, tell us about what you've seen. Welcome to Techno Warriors TV.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Nick. Looking forward to it. And yeah, so I've actually had my first sighting was actually with my dad. I was already investigating for MUFON for about a year. And we were actually driving in the city during the day, which is very rare to see things during the day. And in the city, because we constantly have multiple different airports, a lot of different aircraft flying in and out of the city. I was in the military, so I'm very familiar with different aircraft. But when my dad pointed up to the sky that day, we were driving down a very busy avenue, and I witnessed 4 gold objects flying in a 2-and-2 formation. Never seen any kind of wings on them. They were gold yellow orbs. And as we were driving along with them, they changed from a 2-and-2 formation to a single file. When I was trying to get my phone out the first time we saw them, my phone was somehow locking up on me and not allowing me to take a picture. When we got to a stoplight, these objects continued to fly in a formation of a single file, and one at a time began to blink out, disappear. They didn't fly away. They didn't zoom up in the air, just gone. Well, I was able to get my phone to work, and I actually got a photo of the last 2 objects before they disappeared. I went home that day and I checked Flight Radar 24, which tracks different aircraft and drones, helicopters, you name it. And I was unable to find any aircraft in that area that was flying in a formation. And both me and my father have never seen anything like those objects in our entire lives. Being in the military, you know, you see a lot of different aircraft and test aircraft that we're using, and training facilities. So these were nothing like that whatsoever. So that left us both mind boggled, and my dad was actually a little bit of a skeptic before that sighting. So ever since, he's actually been very into the UFO field with me, and goes to different conferences and lectures now on the UFO subject. So about last year, so this is 2.5 years after that sighting, I was with my girlfriend, and I was sitting out back, and I was smoking a cigarette, and I looked up at the tree line, and this was probably just as the sun was going down, and I seen what looked like a blue-white cloud that had mist coming from behind it because it was moving in a direction, and it made 5 to 6 erratic turns above the tree, and it just dissipated and disappeared into a mist. And I watched this, and it was maybe the shortest sighting I've seen in a long time, maybe 4 or 5 seconds long. And my girlfriend witnessed this as well, so I knew that I wasn't just seeing something. And I've never seen an object that really wasn't an object. It looked like smoke flying through the air. And the way it just dissipated and disappeared boggled my mind. I've never witnessed something like that. And recently, I actually found a photo of something that actually looked like what I saw that day, and I actually posted that on my Twitter account probably a couple days back. But that's the first time I've ever seen something that looks similar to what I saw. It was a blue, white, hazy smoke that made these turns and then just disappeared like smoke. Pretty unbelievable. Definitely had me thinking that I was crazy for a second, but then when my girlfriend seen it as well, made me feel better. So it's always good to have another witness with you to confirm that you're seeing what you're seeing. And those were my two sightings that I personally had in this field.
Now, have you ever had have you ever like had any really like you've never had like an ET sighting or anything like that or an alien sighting?
Well, I I am an experiencer. So for a long time, I'm actually about done writing a book. It's being published by Flying Disc Press by Philip Mantle, the UFO researcher. So that'll actually be out by the end of the year, and it really goes over a lot of what I experienced. But this all started when I started really getting into the UFO field. They say that when you get involved into the field, you kind of get an antenna that gets put up, and it draws these type of beings to you, or this phenomena to you. And for many nights, probably for over a year and a half span, I had crazy things happen to me in my bedroom, usually about the same time at night, 2 to 3 a.m. in the morning, where I was being thrown against the wall, pushed down in my bed, unable to move, waking up in horrible in a panic state, with anxiety, unable to move, and paralysis. Um, I began to use memory foam because I would be able to see if something was touching me. If something would touch me, the memory foam would show a print, and that actually would happen one night because I was being pushed down on my chest, unable to move, couldn't breathe. And when I was able to get up, I looked at that memory foam, and there was a large handprint in the memory foam from where my chest was.
Okay.
Uh, I began to bring my cat into the room with me, and my cat would be looking at the end of my bed as if somebody was walking in my room. And they say that animals can see on a different frequency than us, so they can see spirits and ghosts and things that we're unable to see. And I actually came to find out that this happens with many people that are experiencers. Their pets are able to see these beings. So I didn't know what was happening to me, and it was very frightening. So I actually went and had my encounters remote viewed. Remote viewing is someone that's trained and able to go into a mode where they can see what's happening. And I was told that a portal had opened up in my bedroom closet, and that a being was coming out of that portal and waking me up at night to try to show me something. Um, to this day, I still don't fully understand it. I'm still trying to work with it. But this being was trying to pull me and push me to get my attention. And it was described that it's showing me a location with a river or a lake and a mountain that connects to this lake. So ever since then, I've been trying to figure out what this location is, and I've also been having a lot of dreams of this place that I'm unfamiliar with, and I don't know. It's locked in my memories. I thought about doing hypnosis to see if I can go back in time to go back in my memories and try to figure out where this location is and what it is. That's something I've been thinking about doing very soon. But I had this happen to me for a very long time. And they say when a portal opens up, not just good can come through, but it can also bring negative entities through. And there was many nights where I was scared to death, and paralysis was set in where I could not move because I was so scared that moving, I felt if I moved, I would die. So this went on for a long time. I went and got crystals. I believe in the energies of crystals and sage, also Palo Santo oil for protection. I did these things for a very long time and continued to tell these beings to stay away. And finally, it's down to where I'm not having any activity except for once in a blue moon, I'll hear a noise or two. Um,
So
yeah.
sorry to interrupt. So what this do you think this actually may be a haunting? Or do you think this actually may be an alien ET that is trying to come in?
So the remote viewer actually described the being to me. She said she had never seen a being like this in all of her research. It was a very, very tall, skinny, long arms, long fingers, long legs, ET being that was coming to show me this location. So from her, what her telling me is it is an ET and not a paranormal activity.
Okay. Okay. And have you had quite a few hauntings?
Well, not hauntings, but visits from whatever these beings are coming from this portal.
Because what it sounds like, it doesn't sound like you've been haunted. It sounds like an ET is getting after you. And if you ever heard of the Greys, reptilians, there's hybrids. Do you know, like, did
So,
go ahead?
so the closest that would be described would be the tall grays. Was the most familiar, but she did say this being was black and had very bright eyes. So I don't know if it was a tall gray or another form of an ET that I just don't know about yet. I've seen pictures of things that have resembled that, but I don't have it pinpointed down just yet. Like I said, I'm still actually going through this experience and trying to learn why me, why was I being shown this. I'm still working on that to this day.
So you're still having these encounters.
I'm not having visits anymore. I'm having weird noises. Um, my cat still looks at stuff, in a weird way, but they're not touching me anymore. They're not waking me up in the middle of the night, except for if a noise is hitting. Sometimes my light in my room will be swinging out of nowhere, that kind of stuff. But nothing to where I was being pushed or in paralysis anymore. And I really do give credit to the crystals that I've been using. And, just having crystals doesn't work. You have to believe in the crystals. You have to believe in the sage and the Palo Santo oil for protection. And that seemed to have worked for me.
Wow, that's some pretty spooky stuff. So, what you could say, not only you've had the UFO sightings, but you've had alien encounters before.
That's what I'm told from the remote viewer. And the remote viewer was not told any information before she did her remote viewing on me. So she didn't know where this was taking place, what was happening to me. And when she remote viewed it, she pointed my room out, my closet, and she told me what was happening to me without any information given to her at all. So she's seen this all with her remote viewing skills, which I was very shocked because I didn't believe in it at first. So
Wow, that is that's really spooky. Now, have you ever seen like a craft land before and actual people walk out?
I have not, but we have been investigating landing sites and crash sites to find different, because we really want to figure out what these craft are. And the best way to do that is to figure out what kind of technology they have. And we've been finding different substances at landing sites and crash sites that we've been compiling data on. A lot of these different substances are organic carbide, green polyvinyl fluoride, and sulfur is the number one. And by identifying these substances at these landing and crash sites, we're able to figure out the technology and propulsion systems that these crafts are using. We haven't figured it out yet, but by being able to identify these substances, we'll be able to get to that at one point.
And so, do you think disclosure is coming?
I believe that disclosure is a process, and I believe that process has already begun, starting with the congressional hearings in 2021 when we had the first UAP report published. That was the starting point for me. Then we had a second document published, and then about last month we had hearings on the subject of UAPs, which have never been done in history. So I do believe that we are in the process of disclosure.
So the starting gun has already been fired.
I believe so.
Do you think this is going to cause civil unrest?
There's actually been a lot of different polls that have been taken and set up to see if people would be, if it would bother people or how many people believe in extraterrestrials. And it's actually about 65% of people are okay and believe that there's other life out there. So the majority of people would be okay with learning that there's other life out there. Now there would be a small percentage of people that probably would be in civil unrest about this. Religion would be completely different from what we've been told our entire lives. So yes, this would be a shock to some people, but with the polls that have been generated, many people already believe in other life.
No, basically, it doesn't seem like the end of the world.
To them, it may, but I mean, it's just going to continue as it is today. They're not going to, we're still going to be here. We're still going to be living. So it's not really the end of the world. We're just going to learn that there's other species out there that we didn't know of before.
But there's no hostile ETs, is there? Have you ever seen War of the Worlds?
Yeah, I've seen War of the Worlds. Now I'm a MUFON ERT experiencer resource team member, so I work with experiencers on a daily basis. Now I've had very few experiencers have negative effects. It's about 85% are positive, but there's still a 15% of negative encounters, so negative beings. Yes, you kind of got to look at it like there's a bunch of different human beings on planet Earth. Well, there's probably a bunch of different ET beings in space. So there's going to be good, bad, in between, everything you can imagine.
Wow. Well, that's pretty exciting. Um, that's really eye opening. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for Jesse Pete for being on the show with us today. If you have had a UFO sighting or ET or alien encounter abduction, feel free to report it to MUFON. Just go to MUFON.com. There's a little button where you can report your experience or your UFO sighting, and someone from your local state will get a hold of you and help you out. It's really, really cool. If you like this video, big shout out to MUFON and a big shout out to our sponsor, Irie Coffee, Teas, and Bobas, and our brand new one, MUFON. So yeah, we're gonna feature more of MUFON. We'll be talking about MUFON and a little bit of some of our UFO interviews. Big company, they're volunteer based, but they have been doing this stuff since 1969, since the moon landings, since the Apollo days. It is insane. And MUFON's just going to get bigger. We're going to have more people from MUFON on the show. Heck, we might even get an executive director or big head honcho for MUFON. That'd be awesome. And guess what? If the parts play it right, we might even be covering a MUFON event. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We'd be covering a MUFON event, whether it be through Zoom or at a conference. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like this video, you know what to do. You hit that like button if you like this video. Hit the dislike button if you did not like this video. And if you adored this video, all you have to do is strangle that subscribe button, slap that like button in the face, and pow! Right in the kisser. Have an amazing week.